Welcome to this online interview from the Journalism and Social Communication concentration of the School of Science of Collective Communication of the University of Costa Rica. I am Santiago Mora Rivas, a student at the Mobile Journalism Tools course. We will have a talk today with Jamaima Afridi. Jamaima Afridi is a freelance journalist and documentary filmmaker based in Pakistan. She is the runner-up from the 2023 Thomson Foundation Young Journalist Awards. She works from different national and international outlets on important issues, including women issues, religious freedom, climate change, and Afghan refugees. She reports on the human rights in conflict zone in areas of Pakistan. She was also awarded the Youth Impact Award at the IRF Summit in Washington, D.C. for her excellent contributions to women's rights and religious freedom. Now, our guest will have a presentation with us, and at the end of her presentation, we'll have some time to ask her some questions. Jemima, welcome and thank you for being here with us.
Thank you so much for introducing me. And as I said that I have made a very cute presentation, which wouldn't take a lot of time, but yes, I just wanted to, have a conversation with all of you. So, the first slide is about mobile journalism and why reporting on marginalized communities is important. So, can we have the next slide? Yes, so the first slide start with a question that I wanted to ask you all. What do you think which of the following is most important? So like all of them are important, but what's the one thing that you feel is most important in when it comes to covering a story? Any one of you? Yeah, I hope I'm audible, right?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
I can hear you. So
So
I'm go
I feel that research should always be like the most important thing beforehand you cover a story, because you can have like the best equipment, best camera, and best microphones and everything. But if you don't really know who you are covering, where you are covering, and how you should, like treat the story, then it might be, not completely accurate, or it could be misleading, or you could be mistreating the people, that you are trying to cover.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your Daniel. I'm right.
Yes, you're right.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing your insight. Anyone else with any other option and why? So I cannot see the raise hand. So anyone, you just speak if you have any other point.
So I would say that I think the research is also the most important part. But then if I had to say like a second option, like the second most important, I would say the idea. I think it's like I think people are hungry for different stories, and I think having an idea that's different but also has a market that's gonna want to watch it and hear it is also super important.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I do believe that both of them are very important. But what I think from my perspective, can we have another slide? So from my perspective, it's idea. And I do believe that research is very important, but when you have an idea, and why I choose idea, because most of the time I work on the ground. So before doing research, I just see the reality and I come up with an idea and then I do research on those ideas. Oh, So we have these issue. And when idea clicks me, then for me that's very important, and because it's really define your focus, what you are trying to tell, and the overall storytelling. It really depends on the idea. If you have a good idea, um, it will be the first thing that will click the editor or any other audience. So for me, it will always come like the idea will be on the top, and then of course research have its own value, because in most of the time in mobile journalism, what we really lack is research. And I feel like that's very important. When you have an idea, you have to have the other aspect of those idea as well. So yeah, that's my perspective, and I do believe that whoever said research, that's also very important. So because sometime if you are working from a home, or if you want to find a story and you are not in on the ground, uh, you will uh, first need to do research, and then have an idea, okay, I'm going to cover this area. But that really depend on person to person. For me, it will always be an idea, and then the other aspect. Can we have another slide? Okay, so now comes question why mobile journalism is very much important. Because it empowers journalists to tell powerful stories wherever you are, anywhere. And I think in today's world where mobile um, journalism or mobile itself is very accessible, and everyone have its mobile. So even today I am somewhere else and I'm using mobile because I didn't bring my laptop, so it's easy for me to interact with you. So I wouldn't have an excuse that oh, I didn't bring my laptop and I cannot continue this. But I have mobile, and it's very easy for me to use my mobile and just interact with you in the same way. If I don't have big equipment, I wouldn't have an excuse because I have mobile. I can record videos, I can record audios, I can take pictures. So it makes your life easier, and it also make like your work easier, because you would be able to cover story anywhere when you find it. And then of course you can also edit and produce stories, but that really depend on you. If you want to work on mobile, and then you can do research and fact checking. So why did I include fact checking or research? Because sometimes you have an idea, and if you are working in a newsroom and you wanted to we have this mentality of breaking news, although I don't do, but uh, I mostly write on like feature writing. I do feature writing, but if you're doing breaking news, you have to have um, those stories which are accurate. So a lot of time we lack that thing. So if you're somewhere that you don't have equipment to research or do fact checking, you can even do it on your mobile, and you can see whether the story is correct or not. You will have a lot of uh, app for it, and I can, because it's in 1 hour session. I just uh, made a very simple slide. Otherwise I can have uh, a session on how we can use mobile for fact checking, and also while recording or while shooting a documentary film, how we can film that thing. But I have just made a basic thing so we can have an idea why mobile journalism is important in today's era, and how we can use mobile journalism in different way. Next slide, please. So now you can see the people You can capture major impact with, very minor or very less equipment. You can see I just have mobile and a stand, and I literally carry these two everywhere. So I have my bag, and I cannot go without my stand or without my mobile. Obviously, none of you will go without your mobile. So I use these two tools to, show the world um, the stories that are untold. And I have made a lot of documentaries on mobile which have got awards. So it's not something that we have to underestimate. I know, a lot of equipment that do matter, but not when you have a good idea. That can only polish your idea, but if you have a good idea, it will click, and people will be interested. You will see a lot of raw videos and raw pictures that have got viral. Why? Because it's important. So the quality really matter of what of an of that particular thing, because if you are telling something interesting, if you are showing something interesting, people will get attracted, no matter which equipment you are using. Can we have another? I will just go through like very fast because I really wanted to interact with all of you, and I have already used like 20 minutes. So then why reporting on marginalized community is important? Because they are the one who are affected. And if you see, if and it's a journalistic responsibility to include their voices as well. Why? Because first they are the one who are affected, and we have to include their voices. And then those who are in power, we can only make them accountable when we show them what's happening on the ground, when we actually tell them what's happening on the ground. And then you will have a balanced story as well, because you wouldn't only uh, include the facts, the sources, the official statement, but also those who are affected. So your story will have more understanding, more empathy, and people will feel that story, what is actually happening. And the second thing, because I have worked a lot on marginalized community, they are very voiceless in many ways, because they are going through, and a lot of people don't focus on that thing. So I believe that most of the focus that a journalist should have is on marginalized community. What I do, I interact with marginalized community or the people who are affected, and I go to that places because I feel like that's the place where I should be. And to official, I just make calls, or I just uh, try to do it on mobile, because they will just give you the information, or they will just give you the other sources. You cannot feel them, you cannot tell what they are trying to tell you. They will just give you the information. But when you go to a person who is affected, you can actually feel them. And I do most of the time. If you What I try to do is I put their emotions sometime in my stories when it comes to when I'm writing an article. So it's very important to interact and to work on marginalized community. Next slide, please. Here is it's not like these are just my tips that I can give you, is to just identify like there will be a lot of stories. So although you are in a developed country, but there will be stories. You can cover um, uh, migrant, you can cover religious minority, you can cover racism, you can cover everything that you want to do, even a positive, a solution based story. But you first have to identify what I'm trying to tell you, what you want to try to tell. And if you are making a documentary, it's a very common thing to show, do not tell. You have to show the audience that what I'm trying to tell you. And the last thing is to be specific. The more you are specific, the more you have chances to grab not just the editor, but grab attention of not just the editor, but also the public. So be specific in your ideas, in your stories. I have like worked for, when I was in university, I started working as a journalist. So the only thing, or the most important thing that I learned in my entire journey is to be specific. So it will have a bigger impact. Next slide. I think I'm on the last slide. That is to show the figure, because we have to show figure, and then we can show whatever we are saying. People are following that. So like 69% people now use smartphone according to digital news report 2020. So it's like 2020. The percentage may have increased till now, but you can see the percentage how people are using mobile. And I have friends of BBC, Voice of America, and other known channel who are using mobile, and even they are giving mobiles to their reporters because they feel like it's easy for them to report from anywhere, and especially in conflict zone areas. So now trends are changing, and mobile journalism is something that is increasing day by day. But the last slide is like, thank you for your time, and thank you for listening me. Now I would really like all of you to, if you have any question or any suggestion, or if you want to share something from your side, that I'm happy to hear, and I'm happy to address.
Thank you very much, Jamaima, for that presentation. From now on, we will be making questions from the group, and starting with Juan de Dios.
Hi, can you hear me? Okay, thank you so much
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for the presentation. It was really interesting. So my question is, like, you have talked about how being a woman journalist in a patriarchal society comes with a series of challenges, but also has worked in your favor in some circumstances, like when it comes to interviewing women. So in what other aspects of our unequal society have you been able to find some loopholes that help you do your job better as a young freelance journalist?
Thank you so much. I think individually, yes, I do have a lot of privileges when it comes to patriarchal society, because the first thing is I have access to both men and women. So for example, those who are working in my community, it's a very strict community. For men, it's not easy to interact with women, so they will only come up with male oriented stories, and I can have both. I can include both voices. At the same time, when it comes to opportunity, I will have more opportunity. Why? Because I can work on both. I'm the only woman in my community as a journalist. And then if someone want to, accept from my area, I will be the only one. So it's easy for me to access opportunity, or to, interact with people, but it's individual. And also, if you have positive thing, then you will have a negative thing as well, because you will be the first one who will be targeted. you will be the first one who will be asked question or blamed for what I'm doing. So it's both way. So I do believe that patriarchal society, if I am, standing up for myself and I'm speaking up for myself, I will have some privileges, because there is literally no other women as a journalist. There are activists, there are from other field, but when it comes to journalism, I'm the only one female. And in our club, in press club, there was this woman who came to our press club, and at that time there was no female, so she literally gave that press club boys club. And when I become the member, and I said that it's no more a boys club, now it's a press club. So yeah, I hope so. I just did justice to your question, and I address your question.
Yes, thank you so much.
And now we continue with Tracy Albertasi's questions.
Hi, Jamaima. Nice to meet you. My name is Tracy. So, the jury of the Foreign Press Association Awards said that you show suffering in your stories without trivializing it. So, what's the key to achieving this?
As I said in my presentation as well, whenever it comes to covering a story, I make sure to report from the ground. So whenever there is a story, it's very easy in today's world to just have your phone and just call the people who are victim and just ask them question how you're feeling and all those questions. But for me, it's very much difficult, because then I'm unable to write what exactly they are going through, and I cannot feel them. That's why I said that I always try, and majority of my reports is based on I have did ground reporting, and I went there and I have talked to them. So it gives you that feelings. Okay, of course you cannot like experience that thing, but you can empathize with them and you can see them, what they are going through, how they are suffering. And then when you write or when you show, that actually resonate to those feelings and those experiences. So that's why I always try to interact with those who are affected and less with officials. I would say in journalism here, most of the people interact more with official. I don't know if that's something they find it cool, and less with the people who are affected. But I'm like totally opposite. I just interact for the sake of information with the official, because that's the thing that they will give you. They cannot give you more than that. That's not in their capacity, and more with the victim, because they are the one who need more voices. So I feel like this can be the reason. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you. And now we go with Estefania Abarca.
Hi, sorry. Hi, Jamaima, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Sometimes when I'm working with communities, for me, it's difficult to find peace when the topics or the situations are really hard for the people that I'm talking about the situation or making the product. So I wanted to ask you, what methods do you use to take care of your mental health during and after carrying out your projects with communities?
Yeah, it's very important to look after your mental health as well, because certain time you also feel that pain, and it's difficult for you as well to overcome. And there are a lot of instances where I felt like, oh my God, this is too much for me. But the one thing that I would like uh, really suggest, because a lot of time you cannot consult the, what we call it, therapist or something like that. But what you need is that network where you can like ask the other fellow that I'm feeling this way and what should I do, and they give you tips and they give you that sisterhood. So I really believe that even you guys can do this thing, to have a network of journalists, young journalists, and where you can have a platform to interact with each other, where you can share your thoughts, where you can share your hurdles, and then other who have experienced the same thing and have come up with some solution, and they can give you solution. So I have such friends who have helped me in whenever I feel something. But I think that's not the solution. The solution is to have the community of young journalists, or even a journalist, female journalist or young journalist, and then where you can share your experience, where you can share your hurdles, where you can share your challenges, and then senior or those who have experienced that challenges, they can give you suggestion, or they can give you ways to navigate that. Personally, what I do, I just take a break. The reason why I'm a freelancer is, a lot of time, the first reason is that if I'm with outlet, they have their own criteria that they will only cover these stories or these beats, which is not like, I'm not that type of person. If a story clicked me, I just wanted to work on that. So that's the first. And the second thing is, whenever I get overwhelmed, I just take a break. I just go to my home, spend time with my family, and just relax for a moment. So that I can come out of that zone. So that's my way of dealing with the situation. But yes, the situation changes for everyone, so you have to figure out what best suits you, because you are the one who can feel that. No one else can feel that feeling. So uh, take some time and see how you can navigate with your feelings and with your mental health. I hope that's helpful, because it's a very personal thing. I cannot give you a suggestion which will work for me and not for you. So I have just give you a journal answer to this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we go with another question from Stephanie, actually.
Yeah, thank you. And another question that I had is, what is that hard lesson you learned from a project, but that you are grateful for every day? And any recommendations you can give us based on what happened?
Yeah. What I learned is, you can see I'm a young, by young, I mean, people really underestimate young people. And not only people underestimate you, then you also feel that feeling that, oh, I'm so young, I cannot do this thing. So there was a cross border story that I did on fishermen. And at the first I was a bit, because it was a very big project, and we also get acceptance from Pulitzer. So from the starting thing, I was like, I will just work on it, and no one will notice it, because we were applying for Pulitzer grant, and I said that it's just for an experience. I know they wouldn't accept it, but they actually accept our proposal. And that's where I felt the pressure that, oh my God, it's a very big thing for me, like how I'm going to handle. I'm very young, and what if I didn't meet their criteria? What if I didn't like succeed in this thing? Because when everyone tells you that you are too young, it's too big thing for you, you also start feeling that thing. And somehow, although I'm not that type of person, but when you have a lot of voices like this, you become one of them, because you also start speaking that, okay, I might not be able to do the same thing. So I am grateful, because there was time that I said that I might not do this, but then I said that, no, Jamaima, you have to do this, because there is nothing very big that you cannot do. And I literally did that story, which is on fishermen and how they are suffering across the border, Indian and Pakistan, which is a very tough thing when it comes to covering both countries. Like, India and Pakistan is something, and it's very difficult for them to collaborate. So I did that story, and after that, why I'm grateful, because now I have no doubts about how young I am, how, if I don't have that much experience or something like that, now I don't doubt myself. And I see myself more strong, and I see myself like I can cover any story, because that story was with a lot of more challenges. So if I can do that, I can cover any other story. And there are other stories as well, but this is the one thing that where I doubted myself. In other story, I never doubted myself. I did on missing person in Balochistan. I did on rape. I did on, but it was within countries. So I didn't give a thoughts that, it's a dangerous side, but I did it. But when it comes to like cross-border story, I literally doubted myself for once. So yeah, I'm grateful for that opportunity.
Thank you, very interesting.
Thank you. Now we come with a couple of questions from Elizabeth Barrantes.
Hi, do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but it's very slow. So
Okay. Well, my first question is, how do you balance the speed and accessibility of mobile technologies with the need to maintain high ethical standards in journalism?
okay. So you mean that mobile is very accessible, and how to meet the general standard of journalism, because you have, yeah. Okay, so as I said that you can access mobile everywhere, anywhere, and you can report on that. At the same time, if you have more access to a certain equipment, you have more responsibility, because I feel like in today's world, fake news and misinformation and disinformation is something that is very, very prominent. And there are a lot of news that have been circulated, but later on it was fake news. So it's very much important. And then it includes the general people as well, because everyone have mobile and everyone can record and everyone can put anything they want. So as a journalist, we have this responsibility to not just, cover that story, but to also see if that has some ground, or if that has some, thing. So that's why it's very important to have different sessions, different trainings of mobile journalism, because it's a big responsibility. Like, literally, you can report from anywhere. So you have to have that basic training where you can fact check, where you can see if the story is valid. So I would say that it's not something you know individual can do, but I would say a lot of organization who are working on misinformation, disinformation, they can spread, they can have how they can use mobile journalism, and at the same time they don't you know report those stories which are not true. So you have access, a lot of access, but at the same time you have a lot of responsibility. So it's something that I think every journalist student or any journalist should have a training on it. And it's the responsibility of every outlet. If that's a credible outlet, it's their responsibility to train their journalist. And because it's not something individual, maybe I can say that I'm a person who use mobile very responsible. At the same time, my brother or my sister or the other journalists I have, they might not do the same thing. So it's not something individual, but it's a collective thing. And the first thing that I really, emphasize is a network. I don't know. I have like this feeling when you have a network where you can share information and where you can share things, it get easier. Network of same community.
Thank you very much. My second question is, what is your planning process before doing mobile journalism in a new location? Do you have a baseline structure for your reporting, or do you adapt your approach to each specific situation?
Can you repeat the question? Actually, I didn't hear from the start.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
What is your planning process before doing mobile journalism in a new location? So you have a baseline structure, or you adapt your approach for each specific situation?
Yeah, I adopt my approaches, so it's not always the same because especially in our community, like, and especially in Pakistan, every place have its culture, its own and its own language. So you have to see their comfort zone as well. So it's not always me who decide how I'm going to cover that story, but it's really I really look that to that culture or to that area, how they are going to accept me to report their story. So it really changes with the area, with the requirement, and with all those things. So and I feel like flexibility is one thing that you have to have, at least in journalism, because when you have those approaches of a flexible approaches, you will not only cover that story in a very good way, in a very comfortable way, but you will also come up with more idea, because then when people are comfortable, when people are flexible with you, they will share a lot of things. And when they share a lot of things, it's good for you because you have more food and you have more story to tell. So yeah.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you. Coming up next, we have a question from Santiago Mora Rivas.
Hello again, Jamaima. Well, my question is, you studied law at the, if I'm sorry if my pronunciation is not right, the Shahid Benazir Budo Women University, Charsad, from 2019 to 2023. What made you change exactly from studying law to working on journalism?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question because I always wanted to work on people who are affected, because I am from a area which have gone through war and terror, where I witness women who are suffering. So at first I thought that law would be the medium to, navigate those things. And as I said, that I started working from 2019, when I literally joined university. And how I started is a very interesting story. So there was this school in our village where like teachers were not doing their job, and they were literally they were doing their home chores. The students were doing home chores of their teacher. So I was like, how should I raise their voices, and how should I like work on this? And Then there was this regional outlet that I literally contributed voluntarily. I went to the school like with my own money. I went to the students' houses with my own money, and I literally asked them what they are going through, how they are, you know, working in the school. So then I reported that story in a regional outlet, and that really clicks. So then people start sharing that story, and even the government took action on it. They sent supervisor to the school, and they started like literally working on that issue. So there I thought that, oh my God, this what is this? This has the power. Although my writing skill was not as good, but I just reported a situation. I didn't included any journalistic skill to it, to add sources, to add interview of other thing. But yeah, that was the story where I clicked that yes, I can use this medium to show the people suffering, or to show those stories which are untold. So that's where I started my journalistic journey. And to be very honest, uh, I'm a journalist by like passion, and by literally like the situation that have put me to be a journalist, because there are still a lot of stories that are untold, and I am not enough for that. And that's why I really want other women to come and to help me to cover those stories.
Thank you very much for your answer.
Thank you. And now a final reminder that if you want to ask a question from the chat, you can do it now, because we're coming up with the final of the prepared questions from Sebastián Varela.
Okay, so there is this in chat, I cannot understand which language is this. There is this message. Oh, it's Mónica. Hmm.
Ella está preguntando que qué.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, hi Jamaima. I want to know, when working in environments with limited technology, such as rural or conflict areas, what innovations or similars have you applied in mobile journalism to ensure that stories of marginalized communities are effectively told?
So mobile itself is something that is that is comfortable for marginalized community, because when you are with big cameras, with big equipment, they get overwhelmed that, oh my God, what is this? And for that you have to have like 2 or 3 days to make them comfortable, or at least a day to make them comfortable that whatever you are doing is to show their story. But for mobile, since it's a very accessible thing, everyone have mobile. So when you go with a mobile, they don't treat you as an alien, or they don't treat you like or they don't get overwhelmed that what you are trying to do. So mobile itself is easy to show the marginalized community. And especially I'm in Pakistan, when you are going to a remote area, carrying big camera is also a risk, because a lot of time there are story that certain certain people, certain group, and even the state itself don't want to cover that thing. So mobile is something that you carry everywhere, and no one can question you. So it give you an edge to cover that story with a very minimum equipment. So I feel like mobile journalism can play a very big role when it comes to conflict zone area, and for you as well, because it's very easy to carry. And at the same time, for the people who are the interview, the people who I'm going to interview, for them it's also easy because they have seen mobile, they will be comfortable with it, and you need some 2 or 1 hour to talk with them and tell them what your story is and why you want to report it, and then they will get comfortable. And also, it's not about mobile journalism, but it's more about the community that you are entering. So for me, if I am going to a remote area, I will wear their dress to make them comfortable. So it's very much important. So like it's not on mobile journalism, it's the general ethics that I usually follow when it comes to covering marginalized community, because when you go with some other attire, they treat you as an alien, or they treat you like you are not from us. So you show them empathy as well, that I am with you, and also you don't challenge their values, you don't challenge their traditions, and when you don't do that, they become more and more comfortable. So it's my way of like dealing with the situation. Wherever I go, I try to follow their tradition. And most of in Pakistan, there is this scarf that you wear to cover your body. So I do that thing because to make them comfortable, and also me, because at the same time, I don't want to make myself uncomfortable by, becoming someone else, or the one person who is like noticing everything. So if you see me in villages, you wouldn't believe that I'm the same Jamaima, because I act like them, and I am basically from a village, so I know uh, what their values are and what their culture are. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your answer.
Yeah, it was a bit. I stretch your question, and even I give you information out of the question, but yeah, it came in my mind, and I just.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Is there any other question from the chat, from anyone from the group? If there's not, well, I think there's one from the group. You can just turn your microphone on and your camera and ask the question.
Okay, so like I was recently reading a piece that you did on consent and pleasure on married couples. Okay. Can you hear me better
I
now?
cannot.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
My earphones are not the best. Okay, so like I was recently reading a piece that you did on consent and pleasure on marriages, and I was really impressed because I thought it was really simple the way you broke down the information. Like you went from like the most basic information and then you gave something more specific. And I was thinking like how would be, for example, if I wanted to write things like that in the context of my country, it would be kind of complicated because people don't like hearing about it, and we have like also a religious like context.
I don't know. I cannot understand your question because your voice is too low at certain point, and so yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try to speak harder and more slowly. Okay, so I really like the piece that you did on pleasure and consent on marriages. I was reading it recently, and I like that you gave it like really basic information about it. And I think that's because of the context that you wrote that piece on. So like, well, I just wanted to congratulate you because I thought that was really good. And like, how do you think about this topic that maybe people do not want to hear about, and how do you make them appealing in that way, or how do you start giving information about it?
Mhm. Yeah, and that was a very tough story for me as well. And to be very honest, I was unable to find, a outlet for it at the first instance. Because I wanted to publish in a local, like by local I mean regional or international, national outlet, because I wanted to spread this information for the local audience. But it was very, very hard for me. Even I approached those editor who never rejected like my proposal, and they even said that it's very hard for us to publish this piece because it's very sensitive, and we don't know how people are going to react. So this was the first thing that I came up, like no one was publishing this story. So you see how we are lacking even spaces to discuss such stories. And the reason why I did story is because of this, because no one knows that it's very important. And the second thing that you asked, that how I work on this story, is that I don't tell story. I just it's not me who is telling, or who is telling you that this is important. It's the people, or it's the sources who are telling that this is the story. So it become very easy for me because I am from an area. If I talk about these story, marital rape, pleasure, or consent, it's even difficult for me to talk about it because people will target me, people will blame me, and will give me a lot of tags. So what I do, for me, it's very easy to, do story from other perspective. What, those people who are experiencing it, I put their perspective by hiding their identity because of the sensitivity that we have. And then the sources who are working on this thing. So this story was actually a follow-up story of a marital rape, because I did a story for Asia Democracy Chronicle on marital rape. You can see that thing where I discuss in Pakistan how marital rapes are very large in number, but no one can talk about it because of we don't have um, the legal laws for it. And then this was a follow-up story. So okay, there are a lot of marital rape, but at the same time, these things really matters, and you have to think about these things. So this was a follow-up story. And when it comes to how you can cover these story, I will suggest the same thing. Just you don't need to tell the story. You have to find the sources. You have to find the people who are experiencing those things, and you have to tell that story through their perspective. And I think it's the the journalists have this duty to not tell from their side, because it will turn out to be a activism. So you have to show or tell the story through other perspective. I hope I did justice to your questions. And yeah, so you can cover story like this.
Yes, thank you so much.
It's not really a question. I just wanted to say thank you for having you here. It's been amazing. Every answer you've given us has been very insightful, and I'm sure that we can all learn from your experiences and your work. I think you're also, I just wanted to say, an inspiration for all of us young aspiring, journalists. And it's very nice to have from time to time, perspectives from outside, I don't know, like, the mainstream countries and whatever. It's very interesting having you, from Pakistan, telling us many interesting things happening, you know, on the other side of the world. So thank you. I speak on behalf of everyone that we're beyond thankful.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening to me. And I feel like I am so honored while interacting with you all, because it gives me so much strength when I talk with people, and especially young people who wanted to do something. And yeah, looking forward for more things. If you want to collaborate, if you want to connect, please do connect. I'm always open for collaboration. And one thing I wanted to tell you, you can find story anywhere around the world. That can be an issue, and then can be a solution-based story, and that can be an inspirational story. You don't need to always like talk about, oh, this is the issue, or this is the issue, or this is happening. If there is something good happening, if there is something great happening, you can highlight that thing as well. So you can find story everywhere. Even a person itself is a story. So yeah. I have this last comment. It was really nice, like interacting with all of you. And I was very comfortable interacting with all of you, because when you have that, baggage of a good introduction, you have more pressure, what I'm going to say, how people are going to react, how people are going to even understand, because English is not my first language. So it was very comfortable, like talking with you all, and all of your question was like super, super good. Yeah, I wish you best of luck for your future, and I hope to see you in journalism and covering those stories that really needs to be covered, because a lot of time, like what outlets do, they more focus on like Asia. We do have a lot of stories and a lot of issues, but I feel like it's same in developed country as well. You will find a lot of untold story. So if you start working on those stories, believe me, you will have an impact.
Well, thank you again for everything you said and for your time. To close, this was a special virtual interview held by the journalism concentration of the also the social communication concentration of the School of Science of Collective Communication of the University of Costa Rica. I am Santiago Mora Rivas, a student of the Mobile Journalism Tools course 2024, and thank you for watching.